There's a rather lovely article in the Times today, and I thought I would reflect on that. It's not every day that an English Dominican friar uh, from Oxford is roused from an afternoon siesta and awakens to find himself catapulted into the highest echelons of Catholic hierarchy. Yet that was the fate of Timothy Radcliffe, priest, scholar, and now cardinal. I can remember quite regularly having dinner with him in Oxford in my own college. And I think because we were both called Tim, we were sat next to each other. And he's a man who personifies not pomp but profound humility. And the life and the significance of Cardinal Radcliffe, a man whose appointment, rather like the man himself, defies many of the grandiose expectations attached to Rome's scarlet elite. He was born in London in 1945 into a family there with distinguished ties to the Radcliffe baronetcy. Yet it was not hereditary privilege that would shape him, but rather faith, scholarship, and a Dominican calling. After school in Somerset, he went up to Oxford, that ancient crucible of English intellectual life, and there he, in that tradition of questioning and reflection that would mark his theological career, he found that he entered the Dominican order, was ordained a priest in 1971, choosing a path not of personal ambition but of communal service, becoming a member of the becoming the master, indeed, at the end of the global Dominican order, a position of leadership, but also of deep pastoral responsibility. And in October of last year, in a moment he describes with endearing astonishment, Radcliffe awoke to an inbox of 43 emails, and without warning, Pope Francis had named him a cardinal. The style of this elevation was telling. There was no courteous contact, and no discreet missive, simply a pope making a decision and a friar obeying the call. Radcliffe's immediate instinct was to reject the accompanying trappings, which the pope made quite clear he didn't have to have anyway. He petitioned successfully not to be ordained a bishop, a common requirement of new cardinals, on the basis that he would have no diocese to oversee. Where the bishop is, there the church is also. That principle, and Francis, in his characteristic tenderness, agreed to Tim Radcliffe's terms, and furthermore, Radcliffe was permitted to forego the dazzling scarlet robes, which, as I say, this was something that the Pope encouraged, and continued to wear the plain white habit of St. Dominic with the black robes. Thus he embodies the very paradox Pope Francis often attempted to cultivate: grandeur stripped of grandiosity, power imbued with simplicity. Radcliffe is not without controversy. In 2005, he argued that God's call to the priesthood could extend to gay men, a position that scandalised traditionalists but delighted reformers. He once wryly remarked that among all the honorific titles of the clergy, the only ones that truly matter are brother and sister, a sentiment both radical and profoundly orthodox, depending on one's angle of vision. And he's part of the wider Franciscan project, reshaping the church away from obsession with finery towards a spirituality of encounter, mercy, and intellectual openness. His presence among the cardinals represents not a mere English quota, but a particular vision of what the church might yet become. And by a twist of fate or providence, Radcliffe, aged 79, narrowly remains eligible to vote in the conclave to elect Francis's successor. Alongside two other Englishmen, Cardinal Arthur Roach and Cardinal Vincent Nichols, he will shape the future of the church. It's a remarkable moment. Never before has England, that often ambivalent daughter of Rome, had such a presence of cardinals in a conclave, and never before has the prospect of a more liberal Catholicism been so tenuously balanced against the forces of reaction. Cardinal Timothy Radcliffe is by any measure an unlikely prince of the church, but perhaps that's precisely the point. His reluctance, his humility, his insistence on the human dignity beneath every title, these are not mere eccentricities, they are the quiet revolution of the Catholic Church that the Church must embrace or once again squander. And if I may hazard a personal opinion, in an age where institutional religion teeters between relevance and irrelevance, it's men like Radcliffe, grounded, learned, and humane, who offer a glimmer of hope.